Do you know what the 3Fs of street photography are? Have you ever heard of the 3Fs of street photography? Because if I'm honest, I haven't. Not until this week, where I came across an article and I've seen a few videos about the 3Fs of photography. And then I thought, if I didn't know what they were, maybe there are other creators out there who don't know what they are either. So I thought I would make a quick little video to tell you about the 3Fs of street photography. So that way, next time someone is talking about it, you can go, oh, I know about that. So grab yourself a coffee, take a seat, lie back, whatever it is that you do when you watch my videos, and let's crack into it. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video here at Benham Media. My name is Nathan, and it's an absolute pleasure to have each and every single one of you here today. Thank you so much for tuning in. So just in case you weren't aware, this video is about the 3Fs of street photography. May have mentioned it once or twice in the opening part of the video. Became quite acutely aware that I was repeating myself, but it just sort of like kept on coming out, and I didn't script that part like I don't script a lot of my videos. Hence the reason why this is probably take number 5 of this particular segment itself. But I stumbled across this phrase a couple of days ago, and for me it was quite a new term of phrase for what I do in this genre that I find myself in more often than not. But as I read the article and I watched some of the videos that were sort of attached to the article, it turns out this is quite an old way of trying to pigeonhole the type of photography that we do within street photography. So yeah, I found it quite fascinating. It was quite interesting to sort of see that this is sort of like an old guard type of way of describing what we do and the type of style of photography that we do as well within the street photography genre. And the 3Fs are as followed. So we've got fishing and we've got following. And for the sake of trying to keep this channel clean, the third one is a 4-letter word, starts with F, ends with K. So it's F it. And yeah, those are the 3Fs of street photography. And I think I'm going to go through each one of them for you, and we can sort of discuss, or I can talk to you and you can discuss in the comments if you feel about which one is your favorite genre, which one do you feel that you automatically do yourself. And yeah, let's jump into the first one, shall we? So we have fishing first. Now fishing, I think, is one of the popular out of the 3, not necessarily the most popular, but I think a lot of us generally do the fishing category quite a fair bit. Now fishing pretty much is that you've got your camera set up on a tripod because you know exactly the backdrop that you want. Say it's a landscape or a buildings or a monument or anything like that. You know you want this as your background and you are waiting for the perfect item to come in front of it. For example, if you're at Big Ben on Westminster Bridge, you've got a sensational shot there and you want the right type of bus to come through, be it a long exposure shot or a nice sort of like tight, still, sharp shot, but you're sitting there and you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting. And I think this is definitely a genre which I use quite a fair bit within my street photography. And it is very sort of interesting to see that that is what is classed as fishing. And sometimes as a street photographer, you could be sat at a location for quite some time. I know I have sort of like cramped up my knees a little bit, waiting for the perfect subject to come through. Or sometimes when you have the right subject, you're like, oh, this is perfect. Something's come along and ruined it because you've got some person crossing the street or another vehicle has completely ruined it. So you're just sat there in your chair, rod in the pond, and you are fishing. You are waiting for that perfect bite. You're waiting for that one little moment which makes the entirety of waiting worthwhile, and then you've got the perfect shot for that location that you are in fact after. So that is number 1, fishing. Nice and simple, nice and easy. You will discover that these terms aren't necessarily sort of massively thought-provoking, but it's nice when you are chatting with other photographers and they use these certain terms of phrase that you sort of know what they mean so you can join in the conversation a little bit best. So swiftly following on to the next subject, and that is following. Now following, you've got to be very careful with this one, and it's exactly what it says on the tin. You see a subject, say a person wearing a fantastic fedora hat, he looks really, really, really cool, and you're like, oh, he would look sensational in a photo, but they are currently positioned in a place, in a scenario, which doesn't sort of match the artistic brilliance that this subject needs or should have. So you end up following them a little while, like it might just be a couple of yards, it might be a couple of meters, but you are sort of like chasing them slightly without them sort of realizing, in the hope that they eventually stop or come to a wonderful backdrop where you can quickly take a quick snap and then you have the perfect photograph. Now, I don't do this often because I'm quite self-aware. Every now and then when I'm out and about, but I have done it from time to time when I've gone, oh my God, this guy looks really, really cool. And I sort of like, and I'm running to try to either overtake them so I can get them in the shot that I want them to be in, or I'm sitting there and I've taken a couple of like duds and I'm like, well, that looks crap, but I still think he would look quite good until, you know, eventually they stop or they come to a sort of like a brilliant moment in time. We like, with them here and that in the background makes this whole scenario look good. But I do think you need to be careful with this one. Like I said, I don't do it often because I'm quite self-aware. Taking photographs of people has been something that I've only recently done in street photography in the last 18 months or so, because I had to build up the courage to sort of, do you know what? It's okay. If they don't like it, I can just delete it. But, you know, it is part of being out and about within the streets of London or any city that you might get snapped in some shape or form, be it by a professional photographer or on someone's smartphone. So yeah, so I would be very careful with this genre because, you know, if they don't want their photograph taken, or if they feel that you are in fact following them, then, you know, they might get a little bit up, you know, ish. So be very, very careful when it comes to the sort of following side of street photography. But yeah, that is the genre or the name for this particular subject within the 3 Fs. So yeah, let's swiftly move to the last one, which is F it. So F it. Going to be very careful in this segment because, you know, I don't want to let the word actually slip, but I think you know what I mean. I think this is probably the most popular category in this genre. I think a lot of street photographers go with the F it category, and it simply is as you are walking around with your camera and all of a sudden you're like, oh, F it, and you take this shot because something in front of you has emerged out of nowhere. You're just peacefully walking through a park or along the river, and then you have this sensational shot in front of you. You're like, oh, I've got to get it quite quickly, and you bring your camera up and you take the shot. I'm doing this pretty much all the time, especially when I'm walking around the main city, when I'm sort of like within the buildings and I turn a corner and there's, you know, a guy deep in thought smoking a cigarette, and I'm like, oh, that looks brilliant. And obviously I'm not going to get my tripod out and sort of set up because I want to get the shot as it happens. So yeah, I think this is one of the most popular or the most sort of like well used of the 3 subject matters within the sort of the 3 Fs of street photography. And yeah, I think with each and every single one of them, they have their own merit, they have their own place within the genre of street photography as well. But yeah, with each one of them comes their challenges. Obviously with the following, you can be sat there for ages waiting for the right shot. Generally with me, it is when I'm trying to do a shot when I'm down an alleyway and I want the perfect person in the doorway, dead center, walking just like this. And sometimes, you know, you don't get the shot when you need it, or they've walked too fast, or you've not paid attention and it's gone. I have literally sat in doorways for 5, 10, 15 minutes to get that one perfect shot. Of course, following, you know, you could potentially get yourself in a lot of trouble in that way. Like if they feel uncomfortable or if they discover you, you know, they could probably have a go at you, or potentially if someone of authority catches you doing it, they could probably have a bit of a go at you as well. And yeah, the F it phase, you don't always get the shot. You know, I've spent hours walking around the streets of London and other places, and I'll come home and I don't like any of it. And it does happen. So this is interesting. And I found the article interesting, so much so that I wanted to make a video on it and talk to you. Now, what I would like to know from you is which of these subjects is mainly used by you? Which one do you feel is closer to your work as a street photographer? Hit me up in the comments down below, or come and find me over on Instagram and we can have a little bit of a chat about your photos and how you like to sort of like use these categories. And you know, are you a follower? Are you a fisher? Or are you a effitter? Be interesting to know. But yeah, I've decided to literally just make this as short as possible because my last couple of videos have been quite long, and you know, I just wanted to share my thoughts on this matter. But guys, that is it. That is it, done and dusted with this video. Please, if you found it interesting, hit the like button just down there. It really helps out the video and the channel. And if you like what you see, this gentleman stood in front of you in an empty room speaking to a camera, please consider subscribing. And yeah, let's keep building towards that 1,000 subscriber mark. Down in the description below, I've got a t-shirt store, so please have a look. If you see anything you like, stick it in a basket, and yeah, help me buy a coffee every now and then. But guys, that is it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I will see you in the next video. Bye.